Hey there, welcome back to Total Geek Alive. This is the Geeks Review, and with me is Kaiser, and Danny, and Guy, and I'm Baltimore, and here we are today to talk about Stranger Things 2.
Peace.
The
2.
sequel. Second season. What is it? How do they describe it? Is it not a season, it's a sequel?
Yeah, it's more. That's what the Duffer Brothers are saying. It's a sequel. Yes.
Sure, whatever, okay, you're our tours.
Yeah,
Hey,
they're
they
trying to
can-
change it up a little bit, you know.
They can call it whatever they want as long as they keep making them.
Damn right.
Yeah.
And they are planning to.
Shoot, they got a hot thing.
Well,
Yeah.
it's... I forgot where I was going.
Where are you
So
going?
taken back.
He's in the
it's-
upside down.
He's upside down.
We'll find a
Yeah.
way.
Stay in Castle Fires.
So the second season dropped, and we've all finally had a chance to watch it. Someone took really long to watch it. Really annoying, I know.
I know.
So annoying.
Jeez.
Gosh. But we finally got a chance to watch it all, and now we have lots of thoughts for you. And we're going to share them today with you. So you ready? Buckle up. Get ready. We going.
Pull the harness down.
Yep. Okay.
The last few
Going.
episodes were like a roller coaster.
Yeah, no kidding.
So are we going to be spoiler-free then spoiler?
I don't know.
Or just in case someone hasn't watched it yet?
Man, okay. You people,
Let's just all...
Enough
if
time
you've
has
not
passed,
watched
I think.
it and you're watching this video, you need to get your priorities right.
But keep watching us.
Yes.
Yes.
Just watch another video. Watch the trailer trash. And then come.
Just
Yeah.
pause us for 9 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll wait.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We don't have anything to do.
Okay, so all everything on the table.
Yeah.
I think
Just
that would
so-
be best, yeah.
Okay, so just so the audience knows,
We're
this
all
is
in
a
the upside together.
yes, this is all spoilers. So
Warning,
Don't-
warning, warning. Spoilers ahead. There.
Thank you,
Is that
Danny.
enough of a warning? I'll get
I think
flashy
so.
lights next time.
Like
Well-
the boats sail by.
in post, just make sure you can put
Yeah.
a disclaimer.
Right.
So this happened. We had a lot of great. So one of the things I really loved about Stranger Things, and the Duffer Brothers in particular, is their love of the genre
Mm-hmm.
and their affection for the characters and the story. And I think they, for the most part, they don't leave anyone behind. They progress everyone in some way, shape, or form. And, one of the things that I was kind of nervous about is, okay, now we have Will back into the group. Will the group feel like a group even with Will there?
Right.
I think they do a really good job of, keeping him there. And I really love the friendship between Mike and Will. I think it's really, really endearing. And you got a lot of opportunities between the two of them, and then a lot of opportunities with the other two boys, and so it was really nice to see that kind of play up.
And they did split them off a bit more this season.
Right, that's what I was
Kind of gave them their own story arcs and stuff, and that happens in groups of friends. You
Yeah,
have times when you're always there every day, all day talking, and then things happen where you kind of have your own life, and that's touched on in this not season 2, in the sequel.
Yeah.
no, you're absolutely right.
And of course they brought in new characters.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your favorite new character? Someone jump in.
Bob.
Surprisingly,
Oh my God.
Bob was great, and he wasn't going to be as big of a character as he ended up being. Partly,
Really?
the Duffer Brothers were afraid at first to cast Sean Astin because they felt that his presence might be people wouldn't be able to kind of separate reality from fantasy, and that they would just keep seeing Sean Astin as, it's Sean Astin.
Well,
Yeah.
they didn't have that worry with Winona Ryder or
Paul Reiser?
Paul Reiser. No, the M word.
Oh, Matthew Modine.
Matthew Modine.
Mm-hmm. Right, that played Dr. Brenner in the first season. Yeah,
but not when you're having a show that's like an '80s love fest with Goonies and all that kind of like mentality. Having Sean Astin there is kind of a distraction,
right?
And I can understand where their hesitation came from, but I think they made a smart decision by keeping him involved as much as they did.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, they were surprised about just how well he did, and their love of the character of Bob, that they were just like, we've got to write more about him and bring him in more. A funny little bit, because for those of you who have watched the whole series, on Netflix there is another series called Beyond Stranger Things, where a host brings in a lot of the actors, and they talk about different things. So that's where I've got some of this information. But that the scene where Bob and what's Will's mom's name? Winona Ryder's character?
Joyce.
Yeah. When they're actually down in the tunnel, that was everything that Bob says about, this is Will's map and all that. That was all improv from Sean Astin. So they loved the fact that he could do that, bring that kind of element into this. It's something that they didn't really have in the first season or first episode or whatever we're calling the first one, and this is the two. It's something they didn't have, and he brought that into it, and they really enjoyed that.
And he even did a nice little Goonies throwback when they were figuring out that map. He's like, "What? Does he actually lead a pirate treasure?" And
yes. Like, yes, thank you.
Do something. Yeah.
But yeah, Bob was. I honestly thought he was going to be a bad guy. He was too good to be true. I mean, he was so nice. And then at that point where that shadow monster was coming after Will, and he tells that story, and it's like almost got to stand up and tell him go away, and that almost sounded like just give up. And but again, in retrospect, Bob didn't believe this stuff. Why would he have any reason to?
Right. He thought he was helping the kid. He was telling, stand up to it.
Yeah. In any other, story, that would have been the right, advice.
Right.
Right. Yeah. He just didn't know any better.
Nightmares are real. They're not just, a figment of our mind. They come and possess you and steal you to an alternate dimension.
And let's talk about the unfortunate demise of Bob and that gruesome death scene.
Oh my God, that killed me.
Sean Astin wanted them to go above and beyond, because originally the Duffer Brothers didn't want to be that gruesome. They had already planned that, yes, Bob was going to die. But to go at that level, they weren't ready for that. But Sean Astin was all in. He said, look, Bob's going to, basically sacrifice himself. He's going to be the superhero that he was saying. What he needs to go out like a superhero and have that kind of impactful thing. And a very interesting little trivia bit is that one of the writers from the show, she happened to be on set at the time. Her first time on set to come and see what was kind of going on and everything. And Duffer Brothers looked over at her and the director at the time, and they're like, man, she really is kind of the same size of a Demogorgon that would be attacking Bob's. So they asked her, do you mind attacking? Wow. And so she was like all in. So they spent about a good 4 hours or more of just doing the takes of her just manhandling Sean Astin and throwing him around and all of that kind of stuff. It's amazing, the behind the scenes footage that they have of that. It's really, really cool. I would have been like, dude, yeah, I get to kill Sean Astin and I'm just a writer? Heck yeah.
Nice.
I
Bob knew
hated,
he was.
I hated him dying because he had time to get away, and he just gives a goofy old look, hey, and then, bam! I was like, seriously, come on, man.
That was classic to the whole 80s.
I get it, but I mean, at the same time, you're like, just keep running, don't stop, don't look, just go.
Yeah, that's the second he stopped and they had the moment they
You knew.
locked eyes. I was like, damn it, Bob.
Yep. Damn it,
Bob Newby was too pure for this world.
Yeah,
He was.
He
He
was
was.
very pure.
but I really do love. I absolutely love the Hopper and Eleven relationship.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I thought it was brilliantly done and very realistic, and all the emotions that are going on between them are so ripe. And that moment in the car when they're leaving and he calls her the wrong name, or when he's talking about his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're like, oh crap, yeah, everything makes sense.
Right.
All of it. Don't be stupid, you know. And it's really, really well done. Really, really amazing.
Oh yeah. So before we start getting into all the character development, let's kind of go back to the beginning and some of the like just the opening scenes, the kind of setup, because obviously from the first one, you know, we're in this place where there's something wrong with Will. Will has brought something back, and we don't really find out what that is till later. I kind of want to go on a side tangent. Do you believe that Dart was the slug that Will coughed up?
Yes. Yeah.
I think they kind of made it out to be that, to where it could be, but
That's slow of a gestation period for that? That's like a year.
That's why I
Right.
don't think it is. I don't think it is because if Dart grew so quickly in the short amount of time that Dustin had him, I don't think that was Dart.
it was the nougat.
Yeah.
The new
But-
was the fourth.
But if it wasn't Dart, then that means there's a full-grown Demigorgon running around, and there wasn't.
But there were 4 or 5 others, though. So
Well, I think even more than that. Eventually, it seemed like there were a whole
yeah.
bunch of them.
Yeah,
once,
there
once
was
they
like a-
overtook.
Yeah, there's like
yeah,
a field.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, I guess
But where they were coming through the portal, they may have been. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the best way to like clear this up is to actually ask him ourselves. So we can- no, you know what? On second thought, I'm not gonna. No,
Yeah,
we'll just
don't-
skip that.
No,
Yeah.
but that.
Sorry, buddy.
Leave 'em in
Sorry,
there.
buddy. I'll feed you later. There's some Halloween candy left over.
As long as it's Three Musketeers, yo.
Always is 3 Musketeers.
Oh, D'Artagnan.
But
Yeah.
you know, what was really cool. My 2 favorite scenes, obviously, were shown from the trailer. There was the arcade, which
Yes.
you know, it was interesting that 2 of the arcade games they played such crucial plot points.
Yes.
There was
Dig
Dragon's Lair. There was Dig Dug, and there was Dragon's Lair, and Dragon's Lair. They were, you know, that was Lucas's and Dustin's story, trying to find who's going to save the princess first, who was going to win the heart first.
Right.
And Dig Dug, you know, going down, digging through the little tunnels, and you know, fighting monsters underneath the ground. So that was totally
Yeah.
cool. And that just kind of made me excited because
I hadn't thought about that until you mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah, they mentioned it in the Beyond series. The Duffer Brothers
Yeah.
talk about how, you know, when they were talking about, they definitely wanted Dragon's Lair because that game resonated with them when you know, when they were kids, and just the frustration of playing such an expensive game, and but then the storyline behind it and everything, and how it kind of mirrored some of the relationships that were going on.
Yeah.
And the Dig Dug, they explain it. It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
and then of course the Ghostbusters, which you know,
Yes.
that whole scene. I don't care. Those there's no way that I call BS on the kids having that good of costumes.
Well, the parents may have made them or something.
I guess.
Or, I mean, I don't know. I'm jealous of them.
Oh
Those
yeah.
were
Yeah.
freaking awesome. And I mean, I would have been wanting my picture taken with them all too. You know.
Well, didn't Dustin's mom make his? I mean, wasn't there a scene?
I think there was something about that. Yeah, I could have
There
sworn
might
there was
have
something that.
Well, Joyce was sewing on the patches for Will's.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So I think there was involvement there. I mean, maybe they just bought the things there, and it's just a matter of the patches. So
Yeah.
it's just a little parent splurging on their kids, which is.
They got
which is
Netflix money.
nice. I mean, well, the kids kind of deserve it after what they've been through already.
Mhm.
So it's kind of it's a nice little here's a gift to make your. But how about that scene when they go to school and they realize
Girls wearing costumes.
and the way that the scene's shot, you see Dusty kind of looking up and you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's something from the upside
Shadow
down
monster.
or something. Yeah, you think that they're going to show that, and no, it's just that everybody's in normal clothes and they're the four that stand out.
I felt so bad for them. It's like, that would have been me. I would have done that.
Right?
I wouldn't have felt bad. I would have rocked that business.
Oh yeah, but I know it would have been me too.
Yeah, that would have been.
And I
Pretty
love the
much.
It's like
banter.
the one time.
I love the banter between Michael and God,
Lucas?
yes, Lucas. Yes, thank you. With the whole who's going to be Vakeman and
Yes. Yeah.
well, I mean, I thought you would be Winston. It's like, no, man, Winston. He showed up halfway through the movie, and it's like no kid had respect for Winston. Everybody wanted to be Venkman. It was so funny. It was nice.
And yet it was interesting that Lucas made the Judgment Day reference later on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was a callback to the great line, or little monologue that Winston had in Ghostbusters. It was very nice that they did that. So many little nods throughout.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Throughout, and I mean that's just the genius of the Duffer Brothers.
Oh, just the nods during the lead up to the show, all the art and propaganda, recreating all the old horror posters, but with the characters from Stranger Things 2, the Freddy thing with Nancy and the claw, but it was the Demogorgon hand, the Jaws, but it was the Demogorgon below, and I think 11 walking across.
Right.
They did a whole slew of them.
Mhm.
And they were all just brilliant.
Yeah.
The fire starter with 11 and the hair kind of blowing and glowing from behind. Just great stuff.
Okay.
So what did you think of the new big bad in this? The shadow monster.
The Mind Flayer. Yeah, it was interesting. It was really I mean, you felt this large presence when you would see it. When Will would kind of fade, I guess it was like a phasing thing where he would be in the upside down and feeling that presence kind of over him and all that. It scared the heebie-jeebies out of me for sure, because you're realizing that wow, there's more than just those little Demogorgons going around. There's some big bads. It makes me even wonder like what else is out there.
So,
Yeah.
At the end when it flips and you see it again, it makes me wonder if what 11 beat was that, or if it was something else.
Well, she didn't beat anything. She just closed
the gate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So
it was on the other side.
That was just saying it's still there. It still exists.
Okay.
But now it for one thing, now it knows about 11 and what she shut the door on it, basically.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Did you notice the police lyrics they chose to play in that one scene where they
Yes.
revealed, "Oh, can't you see you belong to me?"
belong to me.
I'm like, I just like, it was like chills just all the way up my arms. It was,
Yeah.
Music was solid in this. Every song
absolutely.
resonated in some way.
Yeah, I've still been listening to Stranger Things radio on Pandora.
Oh, nice.
They have a whole Stranger Things channel.
Now I'll tell you, when this thing started out, we're in Chicago. I was totally confused We see the kind of the initial introduction to 8 and her little band of badlings and everything, and I'm looking at like, what? I should be in Hawkins. I'm watching Stranger Things, man. I should just be in Hawkins, but no, we start out in Chicago, Illinois. I was so flippin' confused, and I was a little bit mad too, because I waited so long to go ahead and get my Hawkins fix, and now they have to start out in Chicago, and I'm like, I'm not digging this at all.
There were some weird issues because I mean, they kind of hint at 8 Cali, and then it's like they don't say another word for like 6 episodes.
Right.
Yeah, it's not until the 7th episode where we get 11 going. After talking with Mama, and then she makes that trip to Chicago, and sees it. And it was my least favorite episode. I understand in hearing the Duffer Brothers talk about it, why they made that episode, their reasons and all that, but even their justification, it's not enough for me. I didn't like it. The tone was different. It just felt out of place. I understand why with 11's kind of journey that she needed to be making and all of that, but it just seemed I'm already sick. You give me 6 episodes and building all this up and everything, and then you kind of derail me over here real quick, and now I'm back in Chicago. Like, I'm already pissed at you because you started the flipping thing in Chicago when I was ready to just be all Stranger Things'd up in Hawkins. But now I'm back in Chicago. Yeah, it really, really made me mad.
That was a weird episode placement, though, when you think about it. Because, I mean, it's like you had episode 6 where, I mean, basically it's like aliens. I mean, they're saying stay frosty. I mean, you have Paul Reiser there as Dr. Owens. I mean, it's like they have motion trackers, and it's like everything goes wrong. And I was like grabbing the couch. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And then it's like you're at the cliffhanger where all these Demogorgons, the demo dogs, sorry, they're all coming up, and then you have that. And like you said, I get it. I mean, obviously, she needs to show how to like focus her anger, and she needs to find out what's truly important to her, her families. But I don't know. Maybe it should have been earlier.
Yeah,
or
that's what I think. I mean, I would. Man, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because she had to be gone to come back. Yeah. But if she would have left earlier, then you would have lost all the great character building with her and
Hopper,
the sheriff.
Yeah.
Hopper.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it was a perfect placement for it because you have all that tension, and then you have something to kind of sort of placate it, but still to bring the story forward. So I actually really enjoyed it, and I thought I really liked. I don't know if I said I would really like 8, but I really enjoyed their kind of back and forth, and you could see how easy it could be for 11 to be like 8.
Right.
Yes.
Depending on its nature versus nurture, type of situation there. And I really loved when she says, "Your family can't save you." No, but I can save them.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, yes, you can, 11.
Because a big part of her journey was, what is family? Who is her family? What is home?
Home. Yeah, she kept saying that was a big call through a lot of different episodes. Is home, that word home, and what it really meant to her.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because, she found her mom in, that whole trajectory. And then they're saying...
That was just tragic. I mean...
Oh, God, yeah.
It was rough. It was really, really rough scenes.
I just got chills, because I remembered as they started repeating those scenes, I caught it like almost right away. It's like, oh my God, she's stuck in this loop, and those are the phrases she keeps saying.
Yep.
Yeah, gets you right there.
Yeah.
I did like. I think one of the things I really liked about episode 7 was a small thing. That one lullaby-like song that they played. They played it in a couple other episodes, like I think with like Mike and Will, but with Callie and 11, we're sitting that kind of that lullaby humming song. Do you remember that?
No, I missed it.
It's not on the Stranger Things soundtrack. I actually had to look it up. It was called "Outside the Realm" by Big Giant Circles. It's a real pretty song, but like it's not on the soundtrack. I was like, oh, I want to find that song because it was really like soft and emotional and everything, and I thought it was a great song. But yeah, it just wasn't on there, so I had to go hunt it down. I think I found it on a comment on YouTube. That was the only way I could find out what it was.
Can you hum us a few bars?
So was this something that 11 and 8 were they learned from?
No, it was the background music. It
Oh, it was
wasn't
the
like them
background.
humming. It wasn't like anything happening in the scene. It was just the music of the scene.
Wow,
So
I totally missed it.
it was just a real pretty little theme. They played it like during real emotional connection moments because I think they played it when not Lucas, Will and Mike were having their talk about we're gonna go crazy together, kind of that bonding moment that they had. And it was just really strong music all the way through.
Oh wow.
Well, we need to talk because if we want to get some younger viewership here, guys, we need to talk because the kids out there, they love Steve. They love
Oh my God, Steve's the greatest thing ever.
hair.
They love the Steve, his hair. There's memes of his hair growing and growing and growing.
For sure.
There are memes of the whole babysitter thing
Yeah.
with him and the way he was watching the kids. He had such a great arc in this. Into you learn to really really like Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you learn to really really dislike Nancy even more than you did in the first one. But man, Steve just he had there were so many great scenes with him. I loved him and Dustin walking down. First of all, when
Railroad tracks.
Dustin's like, "You got the bat," and he gets the iconic bat that he made from in the first season, and then them walking down the railroad tracks, and that harkens back to so many things like Stand by Me,
Yep.
and just being a kid, if you had railroad tracks growing up, you probably walked down them, and you had your own little adventures and stuff.
Yeah.
There was I liked that whole time that Dustin and Steve spent together, and
They
so
had.
they had a little bonding moment and all that, and you saw it progress all the way up till the end when Dustin does his hair up with using the secrets that Steve gave him.
Yeah.
It was really really great. But the kids love Steve, man.
Yeah.
They really do.
You know what's funny? He reminds me of Uncle Jesse from Full House. Like the perfect hair, the tough guy with the soft heart. Yeah, it's like he just reminds me of Uncle Jesse. I was like, oh my God, he just needs like the black vest and he'd be John Stamos.
So I do have to say after all the uproar, we do finally get justice for Barb.
Yes.
So I'm super stoked about that. I was really like, yeah, they did it right. And I thought that was such a great storyline, and the way they went about, accomplishing that. Maybe even, somewhat enjoy Nancy and, because of how they were able to take care of Barb or her parents.
Right.
Because that was, you could just see when they went to visit the parents that they were like, we're selling our house, we're doing everything so we can find Barb. And the broken moment, they're like,
oh, that gutted me so much.
Yeah.
I felt so sorry for them because there they are. Both Steve and Nancy knew.
Exactly.
Oh man, these people are just going to give their entire life away, and they're not really ever going to find the truth.
And I can't tell them, or
Right? Yeah, they couldn't. And that the guy, I can't remember his name, but the guy that they end up working with. At first, I thought he was going to be a complete scumbag, because Hopper even talks to him at the beginning. In like episode 1 or 2, where he's like, "Man, don't take those people's money. Don't be a jerk and all that kind of stuff." But he actually had redeeming qualities. He really wanted, for one, he kind of basically tells Nancy and Jonathan, "Look,
you're
come
adorable."
On now. There's I love that. You're adorable. There's obviously chemistry about you guys. You guys need to just get that done. I'll be upstairs. I'm not a perv or anything, and just go do your own thing and all that. But the fact that he helped them and to bring this, because he's all anti-government and all that kind of stuff. So of course he's going to feed into that. But the fact that he was so helpful with them, and did, end up giving Barb justice, the justice that she needed, and all that was such a redeeming thing. It threw me, it was a curveball for me because I really didn't expect him to be like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you catch that whole Temple of Doom homage that they did in the scene? Where they were like, they were both sitting in the rooms. He's like, he's not coming. She's not coming. And they were like talking about, I can't believe it. And then they both ran out. And I was like, I can't believe they're doing this.
Yes.
Yes. I was so excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, very cool.
I guess we have to talk about those other two.
All right. We got to talk about Billy and his little sister.
Max.
Max. Yeah, Mad Max. I liked Max. I could see where people don't, but I thought I thought with what storyline 11 needed to have and everything. Well, obviously they kind of needed to introduce another female character into the mix and all that. And I love that it was some kind of damsel for Dustin and Lucas to kind of fight over or whatever. But Billy's something else, isn't he?
I can't even with him.
Really? Because I thought he was great. The second he showed up on screen.
Are you kidding me?
Man,
no,
his car
finish.
is great.
Bag of douche.
Sorry.
He was. It's like he walked out of an 80s movie, and I mean, it blew my mind. He just looked and sounded and was that 80s thug, the bully, to the T.
Sure, but what's the point? Like, what's the point? He had no point. He had no point.
Yeah, he was just a human antagonist. He was just a that was the part, and the Duffers talk about this and Beyond Stranger Things, is that they still wanted some human elements with everybody's everyday lives. The kids are still going to school, and Steve's still the lead basketball player. He's still the lead jock and everything like that. Well, what happens when somebody from California comes in and Steve's already dealing with everything that's going on with Nancy and everything, and now here is some jerkwad that's coming in and trying to take over the basketball team, trying to outshow him and outmuscle him and outparty him and everything like that. And it kind of helps Steve's progression with his character, because if you see, it's like at some point he doesn't care about what Billy's doing. He just kind of just lets him, whatever. I'm just gonna. He ends up turning into babysitter, and helping the kids and all that. Yeah. Now, would I have liked have Billy kind of been more involved with all the stuff that was going on, especially that one critical moment when, I think they had already stuffed the demo dog into the refrigerator or freezer or anything, and that's when Billy shows up just right after that, and they have the confrontation. He's like beating Steve up, and then his little sister kind of puts him in his place. Well, stepsister, I should say, because there's that whole dynamic too. There's if you go back and just watch, I think it was episode 8. I can't quite remember, but you find out that Billy has some characteristics of what really the 80s bullies. I mean, they were bullied by their fathers, and so that's kind of why he's doing what he's doing and all of that.
And his character arc may not have had a payoff in this season, but I guarantee you it will next.
That's what I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm thinking too. But it also gave his sister a chance to stand up to him and kind of tell him, like, look, you need to back off and all that, and make her feel a little bit stronger, because she's going to have to end up helping the guys, fight all the bad stuff, get more involved with the spooky, scary stuff.
I have found him ridiculous and inconsequential to the story. I get what you're saying, Danny. I do.
Yeah,
I understand. They needed to have someone for Steve to go against, basically, and for Max to have someone to stand up against too. But I mean, I just feel like it was okay. Yeah, but what? But what?
Right.
Okay. So
We'll wait till next season.
I don't know if I will.
I want resolution now.
I know, but I didn't.
No, there's you're not alone. There's a lot of people that hate Billy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I found within the context of this series, I found him one-dimensional.
Yes.
I found him sociopathic, and I found him irredeemable. He never had any growth. He was just a psychopath. Funny side note, I didn't realize he was Jason the Red Ranger in this year's Power Rangers movie. I was like,
what?
Yeah, he was.
Well,
Yeah, he totally is. I was like, wow, that's crazy. It's like I kind of liked him in that, but he was still kind of a jerk in the beginning of that movie too. So he's good at playing jerks. Good on you. But yeah, I felt because I was like, the thing about Stranger Things is you have all these character tropes, and just when you think you have them figured out, they go off and do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought Bob was too good to be true, but he was. Steve was poised to become the jerk, but he had this change of heart and was probably one of the most nurturing characters of the lot. The conspiracy theorist. He could have just been a nut who sold them out or tried to kidnap him or be weird or whatever. No, he absolutely helped him. He didn't
Paul
have
Reiser.
his turn. Paul Reiser.
I thought he was going to be just like Brenner.
Yeah, like Bert from Aliens. And
yeah. I mean, I was he so shocked me at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you're right.
And Billy just never had that moment. It's like you have 4 other characters that do significant turns, and in a show all about breaking those tropes, especially within the time period, he just didn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would like to have seen him, because it makes him stand out, his character stand out, because he's the only one that didn't, of the new characters that we were introduced to. There wasn't much to it. It would have been nice if, the Demodog would have woken up in the refrigerator and kind of bust out, and he see it and go, "The hell is this?" And okay, you guys, all right, I'm on your team now.
Bye.
Or you're on your own. Yeah, where you
that
kind
would
of
be
see
more in character.
that would be more in character, but
yeah. The only thing different he did is try to seduce Mrs. Wheeler, but even then, for a sociopath, that's just an act.
Yeah, it was just unnecessary.
if you'll notice the book that she's reading, on the cover, it looks just like him when he shows up to the door.
I hadn't realized that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, Mrs. Wheeler wanted some Billy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, hey, she's got a lonely life at home.
Yeah.
She's drinking. She's got a glass of wine in her hand every scene that you see her in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you can tell we have a lot of thoughts about Stranger Things 2. We loved it. We enjoyed it. There are things we wanted more out of it. But what did you think about Stranger Things 2? Did you enjoy it as much? Were there any parts that you really, really loved more than the others? Sound off below. Give us the thoughts and comments. And as always, it's all geek to us.
Justice for Bob. Justice for Dart.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think Dart's still alive.
No.
I think they all died.
Oh, they all died?
Well, they all came raining down.
We didn't even get, man, there's so much to talk about. We didn't even get to talk about the part that, Dustin actually seemed to have a connection with Dart, and Dart let them go by.
He was just distracted by the nougat.
Yeah, you think that was it? All the nougat?
Yep.
All the
I mean, he did, once he was eating the nougat and they were walking by, he did turn around and look at him.
Yeah.
And they had that one little moment.